I did this earlier this
What do we
morning.
got? Super confidence.
Okay, so that was into Thursday. We had we had the same type of context, right? Where we opened, we chopped around a bit, but generally, this is what kind of what I was trying to bring to everyone's attention. Where some supports were holding, right? But look, at the end of the day, we're going down. Okay, so look, it happened again on Thursday and Friday. Right? Sideways, down, sideways, down, sideways. Right? Then right here on Friday, we chopped at the low, it rallied,
Right,
but
just kind of
it didn't
hanging
go
out in the
anywhere
middle right here.
because ultimately here was the real
It's still
move. The
levels
real move
to
was sideways to
be
down. It just
considering
lined
and
down
clearing and
lower.
converting the
So we're going
75s.
back.
Again,
We're
went straight
fast
from the
forwarding
bullish
now
case.
into Sunday night, and we have the same type
Rotating
of
back
behavior,
below
right?
those
So I don't want to get
62
enamored
area
with supports just yet. I'd rather play a
with strength in the
reclaim.
bearish
And if
case.
I'm going to trade, I want to stay
Right
with this
now,
general
we'll
direction until it proves
maintain the
otherwise.
bullish lean.
All right. So right
For
now, so
now.
where did that put us now? Where's the next trade? Where would things change? Where does that argument begin to lose validity? Well, if we're looking at this, right, we have this prior low, yesterday's low, Friday's low at 76.76, which we outlined in the open, in pre-market. So we'll have to gauge it here. Do we find acceptance back above yesterday's low? And in which case, sniper, then we're looking for something like this into maybe we get a time component around there.
You're really looking for a discounted
If not, you can try it
situation
here,
right? Want
and
that
then
CCI
and what
to
you're
come
looking
back
for
down at the
there
lower
is you're
edge,
staying with the larger structure,
hold, right,
and you're
shift
looking
back
for
up.
this is a retrace, and I'm looking for lower price action.
Right? They call this a
And then
hook.
maybe,
Why do you
let's
think
say
they call this a
we come
hook?
down, let's say we
Because it
roll
looks
over
like
here,
a fishing hook.
we come down, and then maybe we chop around, maybe we
I
do
was
that
watching the
inverted head and
program last
shoulders,
evening
or
on
we continue
this
lower where we trade up, and then we move
fisherman
down.
guy, and he was going after
Because of the control cell and
Goliath
what we've been seeing.
groupers.
Here's what my favorite
And he was using one hell
lean going into today's session, just from a general kind of drawing out patterns, right? Because personally, I want to draw out these patterns. I want to know what they look like. I want to know what the expectation is, and then I want price to prove it because it helps me visualize. Trading is so visual, and it helps me.
All right, so notice you're in the middle here,
too wrapped up
right?
in the
Snaps and
minutia
traps,
of every candle,
right? Type of play. Right, A10
so let's
working
talk about
out.
Potential patterns for the day. We do this often in the Manny room. We're just kind of trying to lay out what our patterns might look like for the day.
All right, it needs to hold above like the 60, 62 area here again for the bullish, case, right? Bearish case again, right? Right now the 810 did pay first. Those prices at the break-even line, all right, theoretical average break-even line. So that position is protected. And if you haven't done any trades today, no worries. Take your time. Nobody's pushing you.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize it. Looks like the screen just went. I'm not even sure. I looked up and then I just looked at the chat and I said, "Is it?" I thought, "Is it me?" And I looked and I didn't see my screen. So sorry about that. Everything went down. Here too. Yep. All right. Well, I'm back. All right. So it looks like we have that current. I think what we were just discussing was I wanted to review some of the potential patterns that I'm looking for today. Okay. So we'll map them out as we do. We'll use our red for our bearish pattern, and for a more bearish look, we'll talk about our most bullish look.
Did we just lose one of our charts?
So
Hold
we
on.
already got the move down. So this would be this. This would be.
Oh no. Okay. We're good.
I'm going to start with this leg right here.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah. So let's see this one. So now, for building off of that, how can this materialize? So this is the move down, right, where we go up. Where does that support? I think we're going to make a lower low. Let me start over. Hang on a second. Yeah, so we came down, come back up, and then we could kind of capitulate.
Have to get a nice trend developing here somewhere.
Reclaim.
Nice, give us a nice trend day.
That one's all the way over there. We do probably a lower high, unable to get traction, come back up here. So this would be something maybe like this.
Potential for the high is in place, certainly, right now.
All right, let me just see if this.
Don't know if it's going to be the
I can
final
get more
high.
specific with the levels. Hang on.
We do have a positive 3-day cycle, so at this point it becomes a wild card day.
I still think the downside has
Anything
traction
goes.
here. Let's see if we can get a favorable fill. He's looking for that opportunistic fill. Go back here. Okay. So that would be 46. Yeah. So this would be. So what I'm most important. So I'm looking for this to be down here around. Maybe 76.46 to 76. Wait. 76.50 for bearish look, right? So that and then that would be, and then maybe that's low a day, right? Let's see. We'll see what transpires.
All right, 2 scales.
All right. So then this wouldn't be our most bearish look. This would probably be more neutral than anything else. So don't make so much out of the red. I wanted to color coordinate it, but it didn't play out. And then wait, is that right?
Not only in the Globex ors, but also in the
Let me start over
RTH.
again and do it this way. Again, starting with the same starting point. If you're in a trade, manage it. We come down.
Just
We
meaning
just came
that
back up. We
the
were unable to convert our sell number
primary,
2.
goal,
Right? So now,
right, is to have price above the cycle day 1 low.
I'm looking for this.
Today on cycle day 3,
Down. Couldn't get there.
of course, if it's a stronger
I don't know how
cycle,
low we
we
go,
hit those
but then
targets as
ultimately
well.
high.
But once the primary goal is satisfied, my term of a wild card day, that's not a tailored term.
Something like that. Around these same prices, 76.46.
We did have
Again,
a
this
good
is just an
positive
estimate,
play,
right?
on the
Nobody can
options
predict this stuff.
on that deep cycle day 1
But I just want to
low,
have a mental. I just want to let you guys know what
the
I
other
would be
day.
doing if I was by myself.
But again,
So we really
as you all know,
high,
with options,
down
it's
low,
you could be right
and
on
this being
the
a high.
direction and
Okay, let's talk
still not
about.
make any money in the option, right?
Oh, I like these here.
It's such a
Look at that. Look at that delta.
balancing act
See, I'm
of
offered at
timing
76.
and then magnitude.
60. What is that?
Timing could be good if the magnitude
63.
is not there,
Right.
then time dwindles away, right?
Then, if not, maybe we get a variant, a more bearish variant,
Decay.
where we go low, right? And then we get a super low break, right?
Yeah. That's always, that's the nature of options, right?
So we would go low, below here, come back up, test, low, and then we trend lower. Kind of run out of room on the chart. But since this is not, oh crap, unreal, unbelievable.
All right. So push up, down, push up, kind of like drifting now.
Or the more bearish outcome. Should be in the afternoon.
Right.
We get a
NQ
strong sell
opening
off into
range
the
played out
afternoon, and then some type of
nicely as well.
meaningless
Same
bounce
type
at the
of
end of the
pattern.
day. So this would be the chop zone. You have to be very careful in here.
Playing NQ.
So the when we see those days where prices just it breaks pretty strong. So
I don't play
we would
NQ
get
and
this next
ES
move lower, and then we would go sideways like for
simultaneously.
midday, and then we'd get another control break in
Just
the
choose whichever
afternoon,
one
and
you
then
like
maybe go
best.
sideways to higher into the close. All right. That's what I think. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. Let's take a snapshot of that.
Certainly, if you want a little bit more, action, if you're Action Jackson, you're probably gonna lean towards the NQ.
The general idea, though, that I don't think we want to move away from is we're having lower highs, lower lows on the higher time frame. When you add that to the fact that we
I look
cannot seem to
at the
rally
DOM of the NQ. I can't even
in any meaningful way, well, then it puts us in a hard. At least for me, it puts me kind of in a difficult
can't even
spot
watch the DOM
in terms
of
of
the NQ.
this, right?
I
So
get vertigo.
I'm a better bullish trader than I am a bearish trader. I trade better from the long side, but also, and what also gives me trepidations many times.
All right, we're holding our 60s
I know when
so
these
far.
Squeezes come,
right?
They are vicious
that
and they're
number
so
right.
fast. And I prefer to be on that one. I'd prefer to be long that
Dip below
squeeze.
that early, but we're still kind of holding
However,
that
the
60
structure is
area,
telling me
so
that I
that's
have
good
to
so far.
trade this from top down. So that's what I'm sticking to
I try to
for
get the
now.
edges best I can.
Always being mindful at these supports to be out of my position and be ready to have the mental flexibility to
I wrote
flip
the
at
daily
any
trade
moment.
strategy yesterday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I was not going to be able to do it
It
later.
goes back
in
to
the
what we were
evening,
saying.
so
Price reaches the
I
support.
did it late in the
Stalls.
afternoon because I was going to be
More importantly, not every sell-off is the
off
same.
my
Some markets
computer.
fall like an elevator, others walk down the stairs, right? Price reaches a support, stalls around for an hour or two. Sellers go slowly, regain control, and then within 15 minutes, you see that
Some people wait till the morning,
liquidation break. Then it starts all over again.
you know,
And
to
that's
write
why
their
these
piece.
liquidation breaks can be so difficult.
Nothing wrong with that.
Where price accelerates
wanna
violently
get,
to the downside, and
kind
everybody
of more information
kind
about
of
what happened
panics
in
and
the overnight.
hits the exit
I'm
button
more
at the same
interested in
time.
what happened during the day session.
So think about it like this:
So I
liquidation
can really
is
write
fast. Controlled selling is
the
more
DTS
persistent.
briefing.
A liquidation break can look terrifying,
I mean, I could literally
but
write it
those
at the end
liquidation
of the
breaks
day
are not
or the
bearish
next day.
markets. They often get confused.
I
So
don't do that yet,
liquidation
but,
breaks, what I mean by a liquidation break is a move that starts off like we see at the
because I
open.
use day
We've
session
seen at the open
parameters.
recently, something like this, but a little bit deeper, where it just
And
moves
so
hot
whatever
and heavy,
happens in
20,
the
30 points to the
upcoming
downside, and then all of a sudden it
Globex
stops.
evening
It maybe goes a little bit lower, but all of a sudden it
doesn't
just starts
really
chopping around
affect what I
to
write and
higher.
how I
That's a liquidation break.
outline the next day.
Not to be
We
confused
did
with a
that the
bear
other day
move
for those
lower.
of you who are around,
The
right?
bear move lower is the one that breaks
We did the exercise, I think
40
it
or
was
50
Thursday afternoon.
points, rallies 30,
We
and then
were
breaks
showing
another 40 or
everybody
50,
here
maybe
how
even 60,
kind of I
and
go
it's
about
relentless.
looking at
And
levels
these
and
moves
such.
lower, it's clipping 10,
And the
15
levels
points
that I
moves lower
outlined that particular
within
afternoon, I
5,
actually did
15-minute
for the next
candles.
day, and they actually played out well. So,
And what makes this type of context tough for us bulls
it was
is the chop at support can fool you into
I don't
thinking
know. Was
that
that one of the
decline is
days that
over.
the recording didn't
And
work?
price stops falling, buyers step
I
in,
fixed the
everything looks
recording
stable. But
on
the tell that we have to
stream.
use is if price is unable to
I thought I might have fixed it for
regain
that
an
day, Thursday.
important
Check
structure.
it out. See if it works. Oh, it didn't record.
That pause that we're seeing can maybe simply be the
the
market
afternoon
preparing
bonus.
for another
That's
leg
right.
lower. I got those 63s short.
That's right.
As I said before,
Had that off.
coming off the this high here.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
I'm just kind of getting ahead of that setup number 9 level.
Okay, so Wednesday, the day
So
that
the overnight
my
low is
recording didn't work, the pip
76.64.
was still being recorded.
My
last
execution
Wednesday.
is something like
That's
this.
right.
We broke lower.
It was just a
Traded back
setting
up, we were
issue. I guess
rejected.
there was
Now
an
we're
update
finding acceptance below the
on
overnight low
OBS, and I don't know. I guess the update
in these
kicked
couple of
off
bars.
the
I didn't know it.
volume setting,
I didn't want to try it up
audio
here yet.
setting, and I didn't realize
I
it.
didn't know it there. This one printed. Now it's stabilizing. So I'm
Yeah,
looking
the
for
Pitbull YouTube
that
channel.
move where we found support. We got back down support, found the acceptance, and now maybe I can get a move lower, but keeping a very short leash on it because my risk is clearly defined here. Anything above that 66 area. Let's see. Let's draw out the risk reward and see how that plays out. Okay. From a risk reward perspective, even if we're risking 60, I naturally would have to put my stop up here. That's way too much. I could take a graceful exit at this just above.
Yumi had a good piece over the weekend,
and I only
I don't know, you
need
guys still following
a
Yumi's
retest
channel?
of the low at 56 to justify a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. These are the kind of planning and deciding and mapping these concepts out, I think, that are important. And get a look at the oscillator.
I responded to her in one of the
I
replies.
should have this going here. Didn't think of it. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. I'd love to get into the weeds more. If you do, it's always helpful. I'm sure that if you
She
have a
liked it
question,
back.
somebody else does as well.
This was her reply to me. That was her reply to me on that post. This is what I wrote. You guys see it? I don't know if you guys see it. Right. Everybody knows the
Okay. All right. What do we got
story
going
of the
on
bamboo,
here?
the parable.
7670 is the 810. So we'll see what happens there.
You know when I first learned that about the parable of the bamboo? A friend of mine in trading, all right,
Let's see. Renee, thanks for let's
Dawn. He
see.
in his office.
The pit. Thanks, Terry.
He lived. Now he lives up in Maine now, but he lived on Cape Cod.
Large void. Is that just
And,
happening
my wife's
today?
from Cape Cod, so we go to Cape Cod a lot. Anyways, so when he was living
Okay.
in Cape Cod,
So we're Marlin
I said,
released
"Hey,
a
I'm coming
new
down this
version,
weekend. Any chance
and we're
of grabbing a
testing that
bite or
one. I'm
something?"
testing that one
Yeah,
out today.
sure.
So good to know. Thank you for
Anyways,
the update.
so I got into his office. He has his office trading room in his own house, and so we were just jibber jabbering and all that other stuff. This was many years back, and I said, "Is that a bamboo tree?"
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
Because bamboo trees can
Hey,
grow.
Renee, if you could just give Marlon a heads up
like
about that, I'm sure
monster
he'd love
size.
to know that.
He says, "Yeah." He says, I have to keep it trimmed though, otherwise it'll grow through the roof.
All right, we're coming up to that 21 period moving average.
And I said, "What's the story with that? I've never seen, only panda bears eating bamboo, you know." So he says, "Oh, you don't know the story about the bamboo?" I said, "Never heard of it before." "Why? Is there a story?" So then he told me about the parable of the bamboo. And so for him,
I still have
his
those.
trading,
I added up there. I still had this. I had one
that
contract
is
short of
kind of
60
like
feet. Look
the,
how,
inspiration for his patience.
So now, just
During
willing to give
trading.
it some space here. I just, probing order.
And so I never forgot that. That was,
So now my bogey becomes that 40. What is
says,
that? That 69
"You'll come in
area.
here every
He
day
wants to
and
get
you'll be
back above
spinning your
there.
wheels, spinning
If
your
not,
wheels,
then that
spinning your
would be
wheels,
more of a.
and you're
I'd be looking
doing,
at it as more. As we're going to see more
you
of
want to come
a
in here and make progress every single
more
day,
of
and
a choppy two-way trade, and then at
you
that point would have to
anticipate,
revisit this. Maybe the
you
pattern
want
is
to make
going
money
to
every
be a little
day,
bit
and kind of
earlier
you
than what I
anticipate you're going to
thought.
make money every day, but
I don't
that's
know.
not
I'm
going
not
to be
trying
the
to stick
case.
to it. Just trying to have an idea.
You're not going to have
pattern
successful
recognition.
trades, and so forth all the time, and you're going to be
Pattern
many times you're going to be
recognition
struggling,
and
and
drawing
you're going to feel
patterns
like
out has
you're
done a
just
lot for
spinning
me
your wheels, not making any
personally in my
progress.
trading, and I think that that's something that
But if
I
you're
hope to
faithful
share
to
and
your
teach the guys that I'm trading with in my room.
process,
Just by
and
seeing
of
this,
course, you've done your research naturally, right, on your strategies.
seeing how these patterns play out, and then once we
Sometimes,
blend,
you just
the real benefit comes when we
grin and
blend,
bear
when
it type of
when
thing,
we're
right?
able to
So it's kind of the
strategically
parable of the
blend price
bamboo.
and time.
about the
That's where
farmer.
the magic happens.
And I
For
think it's a
sure.
great
Oh,
analogy. So
yeah.
when
I mean,
Yumi posted
so I'm
her
working with FaZe right now.
little Farmer
Jesus,
Joe picture there,
or
it's like,
FaZe,
that reminds me of the
and
bamboo. So
we
I sent that
yeah,
reply off
we
to
work
her.
out about a lot. In fact, I don't think he's
And I
in
think
here
it's a
today. I
good,
think he had something to do. I
I
think
think
he's
it's a good
gonna. I think
analogy.
he
It's
texted me
just, I think
earlier
it's a
this
good
morning, so he's gonna pop
connective
in later on.
story for what we
He's
do.
not really active in chat. He's just focusing on his trading.
You got to be patient. You just got to be, persistency, and not get frustrated. And the idea of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If you really are true to the process and the process works, and
All
so
right,
what you have to
so
do is
we're
just,
going to start moving down here.
continually just executing the process.
Looks like I'm looking for
I'm not saying that it's easy by any
a
stretch,
10-point fill.
and that's what we have to do. Well, still holding the 60s again. And again, price will really need to get back above the prior close there, or 75's opening range mid, and then up through the opening. So bears continue to have a slight edge. Again, we're short of 810 and both 84.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I can post it right now. 1 second.
Another way that we need to look at this, that or under these controlled declines that could help you, is think about it like this. Think about effort versus result, right? So have you ever been in a trade and you're wrong? Ultimately, the trade doesn't work out. But during the there was a time during that trade where it was the picture was just generally not clear. You didn't know if it was not going to work out yet. However, you kind of had a gut feeling that you weren't seeing what you wanted to see when you initially entered the trade. And it's almost like you're getting confirmation that it's not working through negation by it not doing what it's supposed to do. And so another way to frame that is thinking about it as effort versus results. What gets really interesting is when selling increases and the market stops going down, right? And ultimately, I think we're going to see that one of these days here, because it's just been so controlled. And I mentioned that earlier, that I would like to see a more. I don't want to miss the squeeze, because I think the lower we go, the better the squeeze is going to be. But one tool that we can use is delta. If negative delta starts building, but price isn't extending proportionally lower, so sell effort increases, downside results are less than what you would expect. Then, so think about it like this: who's absorbing all of that selling? Well, the market makers are and the dealers are. It doesn't mean buy automatically. It means, hey, pay attention, stay alert. The auction might be coming to its end. And of course, we don't want to be super early, but we want to know, okay, so if I have a hint or an observation, I feel close to the idea. I feel that I'm trading it lower, but I'm on alert for a potential squeeze. What would I need to see for that to happen? Well, one thing is on the low side, we want to see a quick snapback, a quick look, kind of look below and fail, where price moves quickly below level and then reclaims it, and then starts to structurally build higher and never revisits that area. So that's not what we've been seeing here. Because when we look at our higher time frame, we can see that, yeah, I went through the play-by-play for this week. What we're seeing is the opposite, right? We're seeing that price is building support. That price was generally moving lower, sideways, lower, sideways, lower. I took that trade off at 66. I'll reload it later. I don't want to force it more than 3 points.
All right, 60 still Monday. Holding. That's looking good. Again, just kind of just continue intermittent observation
My Monday
mode
statistic
here.
Or if generally I don't want to attack the market on a Monday.
Yep.
Okay, let me get this chart down. Effort versus results, right? So we could be seeing that right here, right, where prices keeps pulling down, pulling down,
still 75,
trying to get lower, and just no one's getting rewarded for it.
And then for a push,
we'll see. Structure is lower though, so we have to follow. We have to follow what we're seeing. Another thing that we can look for, like after we get that capitulatory type bottom that I was saying, like we stab lower, price moves quickly lower, and then goes sideways to up, just can't go any further, right? One of the, fail breakdown, look below and fail, however you want to frame it. From there, our next kind of clue is, does price put in a higher low? What was the reaction to that higher low? Now it's tricky, right? Because you can get caught trying to buy a higher low. If you try to buy a higher low
all right. So the initial balance now here is in place. First hourly high low.
You haven't done well.
All right. So we got stopped out on the trailer on the A10.
So if you try to buy a higher low here, didn't work.
Should not turn into a loser.
Try to buy a higher low here. Here didn't
shifted
work.
out of the A4. All right. So I think at this point, again, the A7, you guys are always, some of you are trading A7 or seeing that. Okay, so that A7 also has shown efficacy.
But if you think about it, right, if you bought every reclaim of a low,
all right, some of you are
the reclaim certainly gets my attention, but the higher low that has follow through and takes out a local low,
again, is it the A10?
That's the one that gains my confidence.
That
because
held,
price reclaiming a level isn't enough, because it can reclaim a level,
drop
and move lower. Now watch, what we have to do is watch the next pullback. If sellers attack again and cannot
there's an A7 there that
return price to the previous low, then that's something that we're going to start keeping on our radar, and we're going to follow that in our play-by-play, like we would do, like I did this morning, how we got
lower value area
where we are. And in order for that to change, coming into today, we said,
also one of our targets.
14.
Remember,
we have a new
in terms of our targets,
local low,
right?
That would signify a change for us.
Their potential reversal points,
and that being that high at 76, 86
has always been
up here.
Case.
This is the one, this rally high from the overnight session, right? Because look, this is where we came down.
So a push down to the 60s, naturally, that is a target. But also, they can become
price consolidated
today a support,
and then it broke,
all right, or a reversal
and then
point.
It consolidated. So where's that high? This would be a
I don't like
structural
to,
shift
as you all know, I
that
don't
would
like
signify
to
to us
outline a
or to
level
me
as
that hey, something has
before
changed.
it has proven itself as support or resistance.
Let me know if that makes sense to you.
It's
Let me
not
know
how
if
I
you
was
have
taught when
any
I was a market
questions.
maker, and that's not what
Of
I
course,
teach
questions always help to keep the
as a trader
kind of
here,
help the
right,
mundaneness
as
of
an
just
educator.
waiting for the next setup.
Some people like to say, okay, that's support. Well, how do you
Don't
know
be
it's
afraid to
going to
post
be support?
those questions in the chat.
What you can say is I'm anticipating a buy response or anticipating a sell response. That makes more probabilistic sense. But that's why people get, oh, that had to be support. Why did it have to be support? Who says? The market's the final authority. But I do anticipate buyers stepping in there and sellers maybe, getting absorbed. So that's certainly and again, the way of thinking that way, again, it's all about thinking, if this happens, then that, if this happens, right? It's kind of a probabilistic way of thinking, right? Not, again, if you start labeling things like that's support, or that's going to be support, you have now you're into predictions, right? And what you might as well go see the tarot card reader.
We just we're rallying over that. Let's get back to the minute chart. Let's see this one go. Okay.
All right. So that said,
no trade here.
Back
no
above
trade. Now we're testing that local. I'm glad I took those off at 76.
At the moment, again, the next level here needs to convert, right, on the 75s.
That move for me, it had to go right away, or if not, it was in jeopardy. And again, I want to be mindful of that choppy move that we've been seeing lately. Trying to catch a momentum trade is brutal, and it's important to know that that's why we have to have different kind of trade strategies. But our read on context, I mean, I think that's everything. If you can make a game out of improving your read on context, sort of by taking screenshots, saying, hey, this is what I thought at 10:30. Take a screenshot, see how it played out. Then take a screenshot at 11:30 and make a game out of it. See how your read improves, but without money on the line, and that's just solely the reps for getting your read better. I think that practice will go a long way. Let's wait for this double top test. Yeah, you see, if we extended lower, that would be better. But I think now that we're kind of in jeopardy here. We're kind of in jeopardy. What time is it? All right, we're still good on time. This is actually probably a prime opportunity right here. $76, $74.
This is a good one.
Is the local
high. This is a good one by Isabel. Difficult market.
Yep, we got a little bit of a divergence there.
It either fits your rules or it doesn't. Too many monitors, too many indicators, too many hours staring at charts. No. If this, then that. No rules tested over hundreds of trades. The chart doesn't care about you.
76.
You make
Watch
it
this.
difficult.
73
That's a good one.
to 74. That's VWAP. Our volume weighted average price is 76, 72.50. Give me a reason. Give me a delta divergence.
Notice what she's saying in that, right? She's saying no, if this, then that. In other words, you're not using that protocol, that decision protocol. That's what she's
Oh, you
saying.
see the divergence
No,
there
if this, then that.
in the red hand chart. We can see we're starting to
You're
form
not using that type of
flip back
structure,
out, but keep an eye on
decision
this
process.
here. Yep, nope, it flipped back out again.
Good one.
Yeah, they're coming back in again. All right. Nope, no harm, no foul. No trade. Look at that. They overtook it. All right. Never got the signal. Never got like the where the rubber meets the road kind of.
All right.
Hey, it goes all red. And for you guys that are just now kind of, this is why I
I
constantly
think we're
leave this up on
shifting
the
to
screen, team.
the long side bias here.
I
Lean.
want you guys to get used to using this as a tool. If you guys are in the Manny room, learn how
We're
to
pretty
use
safe
this
in doing that
because
at the moment.
it
So
will.
you get some sort of a
So you
dip.
see how we're getting a divergence now? Like the price is kind of moving up, but we're starting to paint red. Let's
Again,
see
we're
if
right
it
at that
gains
opening
any
range
type of
midpoint,
significant
75s.
follow
Again,
through.
that's our next hurdle. obviously
break
buyers
even,
and
and
sellers
then I
everywhere,
lost
but
one
what I'm
four
looking
ticks
for
on
is a
on
level of
the second three.
consistency,
So let's see if we
urgency,
can
kind of
claw
like,
that
hey,
back
Pac-Man,
and
the
get
idea of
something here
Pac-Man,
that
right? I want to
makes the
see them
morning worth
coming
it.
back, coming back, coming back, coming back, and kind of eating through and saying,
What I
okay, we're going to see
and
what's
now
there,
what I want to
and then
see
we're
is
going to
I
look
want
to
to see
rip it.
now. I want to see that
I
follow
look at
through
order
that we've
flow
been
and I'm saying,
discussing.
I don't see
We
that.
had the sideways.
Does anybody?
We had the sideways. Let's see
I
if
don't
we
really
can
see
get the
that.
move lower.
So,
Because if not, if we
when it goes
start
into the
coming
decision
back up
making,
here,
this is a little bit
we're
more
trading sideways, and we came down. And now, if on this next
experience-based, I
print,
guess, right? What I'm looking
if
for.
on this next print we start working our way back higher, then
And
it's
again,
time for
then
me
it
to
just
exit,
kind
right?
of, you
Because
can see here again,
all
look
it's
at the
telling
upper
me
side of
is
the
that, hey,
profile of
we're
this
not ready to
period,
go
right?
yet,
And
and
then
what's going to happen is we're just
further
going to
to the
start
downside.
going sideways.
Everybody see
Who
that?
knows?
Anybody? Thumbs
But
up.
ultimately, what the pattern looks like
So just so I
is
know. Okay,
it
thanks,
comes,
Lawrence. All right.
comes down,
So these are
comes
kind of
back
some of the
up,
clues
goes
that, when I'm
sideways,
looking at, okay,
but
see the
never
move
gains
up,
any follow
pulling
through.
back here.
These
Question is, we
go
did get a
sideways,
discount here
we go up,
into the
we
fair
come
value
down, we
zone.
go up, we go
Okay.
sideways.
So part of my decision is not just looking at the right chart over here on the right and saying, okay, I got the configuration, but is there the order flow that's gonna, push this? And that's what I'm saying is I don't see the urgency. So if there's no urgency on the part of, remember, we're trying to kind of tag along, right? What the market's doing. So if there's no urgency
And the higher,
in those
more
that can
importantly,
move the market,
our ruling reason is,
and that's what I'm looking
every
for. Those
need that
that
we've
can
said that
move
we've
the
needed,
market.
70,
If there's no urgency
76.86,
there, there's
77.14,
no reason for me to be urgent.
77.60. There's been no attempt, even though we're going
Okay.
sideways. We're going sideways to down. There's been no attempt to reclaim
Yeah,
those levels.
over here as well, right? Let's see that. But even in this
It's
area
happening
right in
as we
here,
thought it
right,
would.
where it would be,
It's just not
where
happening
we're looking at the
in
order flow there,
in
it's
a
kind of,
very
scrappy,
in a way
right?
that's
Some a little bit
quickly
above, some a
discernible to
little
the
bit
eyes.
below.
But yeah, we're moving slower.
Okay, all within, and again, we kind of look at it this way, but kind of block it off there for a moment, right? And you can also see here, in the CCI, it's not really persistent.
What I
It's
don't want to do
down,
is
kind of bounce up, down, kind of bounce up,
overstay my
right?
welcome here if
So,
we get
these are
jammed
some
up.
of the clues. I really want to see
But if I can get down to
persistent,
76.60, I'll have another 10.
volume,
I'll make at least 2 for today. But
because I'm looking to tag along with my long from
all I'm
from
trying to
those
do
that
is
can, be the
stay with
market
the guys,
movers.
stay with the higher
Everybody
time
follow
frame,
kind of the logic there, right? So this is
catch a
just
ride
kind of
close to the exit, and then manage
an
the risk.
overview of kind of the ODA loop, right?
In
So I got
fact,
the
we
observation,
we don't need this
orientation.
price
So I'm
to
really
come
thinking
back up
about the
here on a
decision
choppy
action
day.
cycle, right? So we have the
If it comes
observation,
up to my
orientation
stop,
in
I am
place,
not. It's not
right?
something
Kind of
I'm going to lose
long
on.
leaning. But the decision action is, what am I using there in order to take that, take a trade or not take a trade? So I want to see some volume. Now, again, I do tend to look at order flow, but you don't have to. Like I said, I don't really care about the numbers. I really am more interested in the profile shapes, right? That would be what I look at primarily. And I'm just seeing that there's very little volume to the upside pushes and not any sustaining of those bids. Okay. So and frankly, with CCI, not really much in the way of, momentum building. So that's kind of how what I would, to my comment about there does not appear to be any urgency. Yeah, for me, it's a profile shape. Again, I'm not going to get into the, whether or not this, any of these size, volumes. They're all 3-digit volumes anyway. So that's, when we start seeing a large like 4-digit volumes back and forth, then heavier heavier contract size and so forth. But generally, kind of three. And again, there is some relevance to looking at the size
Setup number one,
of the
acting as
numbers,
resistance.
but that's not a
All
primary
morning,
concern.
bulls unable
Yeah,
to
I guess that's
reclaim
more
it.
secondary. But
Well, let's see
again,
if
if
they
you're going to
can
be
push
looking
lower.
for a breakout of a level, you want to see that persistency. That I call it Pac-Man, right? You remember the old Pac-Man, type of thing, right?
This is
Right?
a
Chop, 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 chop,
you
chop,
know
chop, chop, chop.
in the blueprint
I want
we
to see
have
Pac-Man
76,
chipping away,
basically
eating away
76.50 to
at whatever potential
76.55.
supply is
Sorry,
there.
76.55 to
Right?
59
So it's
as our
all
bull
about
bear line,
kind of how
and you
much
can see it's
volume
just it's really being
and then the
defended here.
persistency of the volume, persistency of the
But this
action
day, if we get below it
of
immediately,
either the
where I'm
buyers
looking
and
for,
sellers.
as I'm looking right back at a support, what's my next support? Because this tempo is not telling to me, hey, it's not saying, hey, we're going
Order
to
flow
break
reading
20,
is
30
hard
points
to
lower.
teach.
It
There are some people out
may.
there that do, but I don't. So like I could describe as I'm doing here what I like to see in order flow, but it's not necessarily the be all end all of what how I would make a decision. So it's just one kind of datum
This is
that I'm
slow
looking at.
market. A slow
But I
market
can
will
get that
have you
information
analyzing a
elsewhere
5-point move like
that
it's the
has volume
fucking Kennedy
ratio.
assassination.
I mean, you really want to see,
Ugh,
again, you want to see above the zero line, and you want to see persistent,
unreal.
buying, not this ratty back and forth type stuff.
I'm just realizing we just moved like 5 points.
So the total delta, it is tracked here.
Our range
I
is
don't know if
our range
I
is 27
really
points.
pay that much attention to it. Again, maybe secondary, tertiary type of.
I'm telling you guys. So one of the again,
somewhat in the
with,
back of my head.
and I tell him frequently, because when you're when you're first starting
really
off,
what I'm
the
looking
tendency
for,
is to want to see something happen every day.
Again, I want to be able to see.
It's not as easy to
the Pac-Man
recognize
effect
when price is not moving.
I want to see.
I'll be honest. When
they're
say that
persistently
this has happened to me several
working
times,
to take out
where
whatever supply may be there.
been away. Let's say if I went on vacation or something like that, and I come back,
And
to
it's
the
not
market,
always going to be the
and I
case
look
where
at
price breaks
action,
out and it's always,
and I see that
aggressive
where
Pac-Man.
this one 5-minute print is 15 points.
It could break
20
out
points, and it's
on relatively
and it has
low
several
volume
of them
too.
I get scared at that because I know,
But
okay,
in either
well, that's
case,
going to
if
be
it
wide
does
structure.
break
That's
out
going to be hard to
on
trade
relatively low
because
volume,
we're not getting,
I'm
we're getting
more
quick
interested
movements,
in,
and it's
well,
hard to get in.
is that really going to
here.
persist? So if we break out on low volume, it's likely to come back down.
The most dangerous thing in a slow market isn't the potential for volatility to creep up. It's the boredom and having a mouse.
That's probably the expectation is there's going to be persistent commitment.
Dangerous thing.
Yeah, effort versus result. They're at a Wyckoff, concept.
Again, we go back to that what we were saying earlier about effort versus result, right? We're not getting that effort. I mean, we're not getting the bears.
Well, in Sierra chart, I can track delta on every.
Look at my delta. I was going to peel it off, and then we got that delta hit pretty good.
And then I have cumulative deltas. I'm not going to stick around
very long. I mean, 5 points,
so the
5.5
cumulative
points
delta right now
is pretty good.
And the total. I'm sorry. That's not cumulative. That's
right, well,
on the bar.
Let's see if we can push lower here. This is where order flow meets.
Again, I don't
order
really
flow
pay
helps you so much.
A whole lot of attention to that.
lot of my context reads.
Some people do.
Chart reads are based off.
I'm more interested in the Pac-Man effect
the order flow
first.
And I was telling Jesus,
Because
I
that's going to
told
be the Pac-Man
FaZe
effect. To
that
me, that's what I refer
that's going to
to it
be the
as, the
final
Pac-Man
leg.
effect.
We're going to
That's
sit there,
to
and
me,
I'm going
that's
to
telling
teach
me
you the
that
order flow. I'm going to
institutional
teach you how to read it. But that's
participation,
probably
they're the
going to
ones,
take
again, they're
you.
the ones that can move the
That's not
market.
going to happen in a month.
Yeah,
Because you need to
that's
see
what
the
I
different
call it, the
environments. I
Pac-Man
mean, we could
effect.
sit down for 6 months and not see a bear tape.
I should probably put
Think
that
about
in
it. When was the
the
last time we saw a bear tape, and how long did it last?
glossary.
Well, let's look back at that, right? So that was literally back in March. Okay, got the 10-point target. Let's go. All right. Happy about that. Feels like a home run today.
Because my handful of contracts is not going to move. Not going
I
to move
can't
the
believe
market in any way.
I got two 5 and 10-point trades today. Amazing.
Then, of course, you can, then on the flip side, see, this is where
Yeah, Philly. I
at some
agree with you
point
100%.
you
It's
want to
just
be,
it's nauseating.
you
I mean,
want to
I'm telling
be,
you,
you
it's
want to
so
become
dangerous. Like
somewhat ambidextrous. We were talking
you
about
want
that
to be
lefty
able
righty hands
to
last week.
like
You want to
having the
somewhat
right tools.
try
I
to
cannot
become
state that enough. Having
ambidextrous,
the right
meaning
tools on these
that,
days is amazing, because so
and this is where
if I
the
weren't
if
here
then
on
else
stream, if today
kind of comes into
if I weren't
effect.
here, I
So
would
you
probably
see
be
this
hanging out from
action
10:30,
here,
11:30,
and you
and then I'd
say,
probably
well,
come back at around
okay,
2 to
so I'm
3,
looking
because
for the if,
it's just more
right,
it's
for the
you're more
plus side.
effective as a trader on days
So
like
if it
this and markets
holds,
like
and
this.
then
Your
volume
trading is
comes
more
in, et
effective,
cetera,
which
right? So that's
you know
part
it
of
the eff,
like
the efficacy of your
the
trading is your
decision
ability to
action
extract money
cycle.
from the market.
If
And
this, then
if we're
that.
gauging
But
that,
also on the
your
flip side,
effectiveness at trading
right?
significantly
Well, what if
increases
the if is
with
more of
you
a negative
not
if?
being here all day.
If it
And
doesn't go up,
that's probably,
right? Is there
can be
something to do
confusing to
there?
many,
Kind
but
of
it
like,
is
you
true.
can kind of create
Test it.
that line in the sand, temporarily line in the sand for yourself right there.
A slow
Say,
market's
well,
favorite
if
or number one
the
trick
price is not
is
pushing up
convincing you that something is about
with
to
any
happen.
vigor,
It does that
maybe
over and
they're
over and over
actually
again.
planning to move it lower. So then you'd say, well, if I see more evidence of that, maybe that becomes a short. Not saying it
Delphine says,
should.
when we look at
They're saying,
previous
well, maybe
Jackson
that
Hole
becomes
meetings, we often see
becomes
a
a short,
sell-off after the
and you
event.
put an
Really?
entry,
Okay.
on a
Yeah,
break
so I
here
think
with
there's
a
truth to
stop
that.
loss
Yeah,
above
so
here. Because why?
I remember
Why would
there
you put a
being.
stop about this? Because you see
I
that the
probably have
buyer's
some
not
notes
having
on that
any
somewhere. I'll have to dig that up.
success pushing it higher. So these high points here, right, is where the last buyer bought. See how the thought process? I'm just, remember, my
Look, I
goal
mean, we
going
got some
forward is
follow
to help
through, but look at how slow this is.
you work on a thought process. And again, we're going to go back to this if then else so many times.
It's like, yeah, okay, so maybe we see some. So Delphine,
That's the idea. Well, if
when
they
you mean
can't push it
after, do you mean the
higher,
day
we're not
after,
really having any
or the
success sustaining
immediately
a
after
bid.
the meeting ends?
Then to me, what I also am thinking is, well, if the buyers here that attempted to push it higher and they can't, they're probably going to be trapped buyers. What happens to trapped buyers? Right. When the market makers realize, hey, they're not making any progress, there's no real strong, persistent buying, they're going to hit it. And when they hit it, they're going to force the
Okay, I
trapped
remember being like,
buyers, obviously,
I
to
think the
bail.
meeting ends in the afternoon,
Exactly. They're gonna have to
but they're
bail out.
mount.
So
So
again, the
afternoon
idea is to think
EST,
about this,
and
not just
I
look
think
at the chart
the
and
Jackson
say,
Hole meeting
okay, we
happens
got the EMAs,
MT
we
Mountain
got an
Time.
A4
And I
bullish
remember there being like some type of time
configuration.
component to it.
Okay,
like
it should be
coming
going
in
up.
later in the day or something. I could be wrong. It could be the next day or so on.
This just shows us a configuration of the price action. What
All
we
right,
want
little
to
sell
get to is,
program there.
okay,
In
so the buyers
SPYGATE,
that pushed it up,
but
we see
now
that would happen. So again, the way I've referred to it is the onus, ONUS, the onus is on the buyers. They pushed it up. Is that all you got? or do you want to push it up some more?
So let me, if you think about this tape, right? Who needs to perform and who needs to sit tight?
The buyers that were,
right?
yeah,
If
they
you
got
think about
absorbed
it, right,
by the sellers. Absorption obviously works
buyers
two
keep
ways.
showing up on
Right?
dips,
Yeah, absolutely. So if they
and
try to
being
push
sold
these up,
into.
so
they're the ones
who
that
is
need
the
to
stronger
perform
party?
here. So we would see some type of
The passive sellers.
strong reaction.
Yeah,
Right?
in this
Because
case,
all we're
yeah,
seeing
passive
is sellers holding their positions, not willing to cover.
That's what I'm looking
so
for. I'm
not
looking for
willing
the
to become
not only
buyers.
an aggressiveness.
And so
because
think about,
like you can see
here's a good way
the
to think
buyers
about it,
pushed
right?
it up here in this move
in a
off of
very
these lows.
simplistic way.
So yes, they were the
sellers
aggressor,
become
and it was just
buyers
probably
above
an
support,
imbalance of
above
sellers.
resistance.
But then they got to the point where they
and
got
buyers
those
are
buyers
buyers
got filled
at support. Okay,
by passive
so
sellers.
think about it like this. Let's see, coming into that. Oh wait, this is
okay, and then rotate
target.
back down a little bit. And
Sorry
so again, they also
76.58. All right, got
see
it
on the pullback.
Got the last one was the last one was an
here.
8 target.
So
this is
somebody
I forgot to time it up.
buy
So 7. 8 on the 7 on the 7 on the first,
would be
10
saying,
on the second.
well, at least I'm
5 on the first,
I bought them at a fairer value, fairer price, and they would be correct, as we would do.
53
we would be
15.
looking for. But I'm also looking for who pushed it higher?
See if it cracks.
What side? The buyers. Okay, the buyers then show me
here. I don't want to see anything.
Could I buy them in the fair value zone here?
Now,
and so be relatively
think about this, right? As I was
yes.
just saying, right? So think about this.
Okay.
Buyer, I'm going to use buyers
as
green
in this area somewhere.
Sellers is red.
And I'm seeing
bulls
this
is green,
action here.
Bears is red.
Other buyers trying to push it higher. Neutral. And
so
I'm not seeing that they're having any success
begin to become buyers.
And I happen to be in at a lower
traded above here, their stops are here. They become buyers.
And I'm seeing that they're not making any
resistance fail, and we extend higher.
Pushing it higher.
But right now,
I'm
all
already
we have
positioned.
is bulls.
Good guys,
buying
push it higher
support.
for me. Thank you very much. But if they're not doing the job,
they're buying supports, but they're not able to trigger.
Once you're in the position, now you'd be thinking
passive buyers, those passive buyers being stop loss buyers.
I need to continue to see
buy
strength
stop
in order to
buyers
continue to hold
that are already
position.
short from higher prices.
And if that's not happening, then my thought process becomes
and
defensive.
Each time we rally, they cannot trigger those passive
right up to even break even for that matter.
Buyers.
Say, okay,
and so what is happening
push it higher,
they keep getting liquidated on
I'm
breaks.
not hanging around.
And it works the same way on both sides. But ultimately, what then happens is those guys get liquidated,
unfolding, and that's kind of the read
when
of
they
the
come down here, they become sellers.
Once you're in a position, once you're committed into a position, you want to make sure.
So now, if you carry that same,
is my commitment
kind of follow that same logic chain. So why aren't we seeing bigger breaks? Well, because generally the market is listless. There is not a lot of participation. Buyers are not rallying it up 20 points and meeting active sellers. It's just going sideways, and these liquidation breaks are these buyers getting liquidated, but not in a very
that have more
in a way that has increased volatility very much.
Right? Keep pushing it. You did your job. All right, you saw it. You read it. Got a little bit of a pullback. Okay, I'm in. Now, those guys, the ones that
I think that's a good way to look at it.
Push it.
So right now, it's up to the buyers to prove it. All right, and so now we're coming back into that low again, and now look, you can see already we're putting in that wick. And we're right back in the value, in developing value. Let's see what bulls have. Excuse me, guys. Wait. Let's see. Okay, I thought I had someone at the door. I'm out.
All right. So we need to be actively thinking about what's going on.
So I took 1.75 on the last
reason.
one, team. It's that kind of a day. And it's going to have to pay for this 8-4 short here in a minute. It is not receiving the type of follow through or
All right,
seeing
so
the reaction
retesting
that we
60s
expected.
again.
I'm supposed to let it work and not take it off early, but
All right, I'm going to. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to be cutting off the stream here in about 5 minutes here at 11:30. And if you have any questions, fire them off.
68 quarter is our prior low where they bounced
not
it
good.
from. I would expect that to,
As
let's see if
Jocko
that can
would
be
say,
eclipsed.
good.
$27 at 3/4 point range. Yeah. Certainly not a barn burner. Certainly not a barn burner at all. Not even sure where that came from. Maybe it was like the old Dukes of Hazzard reruns. All right, now I need to stop. I'm just so dating myself. So one thing to note, right? Let's pay attention to this here, and that so we have something to look at, I guess. Our moving averages have crossed over, and they're moving down to the downside. Where they opened up, we came back, we retested them. They were unable to close above, but I mean, I don't know, but they look more. They look like something here, but I think that more what I think that on a higher time frame, they probably look flat.
Well, alrighty then, everyone.
Yep,
I
that
am
trade
going to
failed.
cut the stream off here. I'm going to be hanging out for a bit. I have a meeting at around
Took those two
12:30.
off. So
Then I'm gonna step out after that for
5-on-2 on that PTGA
a little
4.
short walk and a dip, and come back.
Yeah, all came off there. All right, so now we're getting some
Oh,
pop here.
maybe
Let's
that
see
was
what happens.
maybe that was the push to flush them out and rip it up.
Hey,
this
look at
time.
that
We'll see.
surprise! Hey, market
See,
blueprint.
you see the
people,
persistency now.
Look at the time
Right?
we bounced.
Again, just before we cut out here, you can see where they pushed them down.
Interesting.
All right, now there's some urgency. Right, there's some range on these bars. There's some urgency. coming off those
All right,
lows.
so
So
now,
probably
so
some
guys,
traps,
here, this
some
is what we were talking about,
probably
right?
some
Do we
traps and
get that
shorts. Who
forcing
knows?
action back above
All
here?
right, but there seems to
Right?
be some
Remember the
urgency
pattern
now.
that we discussed, right? So remember the pattern
We'll
we
see how this
discussed.
plays out.
Again, it's
All right, I'm going
never
to cut the stream
perfect,
off for everybody. I'll be hanging out. Feel free
but
to post.
I think this
And
pattern
I'll check in a little
has a
bit
better
later.
shot if we can get above that resistance, and then open us up for a short scalp to the upside. Right. So where we had this, we came back up, we moved back down, up, came back down, enable, and now we start moving above. If we can get here, break above there, we reclaimed. It also lines up with our overnight low reclaim. And then we can start looking for another short scalp for a 5 and 10, maybe in here somewhere. Who knows? Let's see if we can get lucky enough. But again, we know what our first need is, right? We need to get over this local high first, right? So let the buyers prove it. If not, it's just going right back into chop. We need to get over this high. And if that happens, then we can start looking at getting long for this leg higher in a move that may materialize like this. Yep, look at that. Okay, good. All right, maybe we'll get an opportunity in here somewhere. We'll see. There's obviously no need to jump ahead here. If we're looking at this in terms of time, right, we just got up here on that 5-minute print. So we probably have another 10 minutes before we have to click any buttons. That's another good way of looking at things. Giving yourself that time marker to allow that bar to close, and let price prove it before our antsiness gets the best of us. But now, since we have that structural shift, right, where we put in that first higher low and we moved away from it decisively, that was our first need. Right, so we moved lower. Early push, came back up high, low, a little bit higher, came back, put in a higher low. Now let's see if we can get the break here. And what we want to look out for now is the structure in here, in these bars at high. We want to see some sideways movement, right? Of course, consolidation. More importantly, what I want to see is like those wicks on the downside start to hold. And then the reason why I'm drawing that out is because this low, currently now at, let's see, 76.68 would become our risk marker. So risk marker comes in down here. And then we would be looking at some type of a long trade, or move maybe for a long scalp. somewhere in here, with this being our risk marker, somewhere down here. And then we need to get up to 76.80, which is in line with us staying within. We're not asking the market to do anything it hasn't done. But first, our first need is to get up and over this level. Yeah, so this risk would be 5 points, acceptable. Let me see if we can get a move, an extension higher. Dang, I was hoping we would get a little bit lower and trade that lower support area and then reclaim it. That would have extended the range at least by another 10, maybe 15 points, and that gives you a little bit more to, gain on the upside, but it just never happened. What is that? Let me just fix that up now. From an order flow perspective, I'm dialed in on that delta. I want to see that those reds continue to be. I want to see a lot of red without price budging. Can't really see that. Let's just see, make sure that that's right. Yep, 76.86. Okay. All right, good, constructive, right? We came back down. Now we're moving back up again. Let's see. Good. Excellent. Alrighty. Now we can wait for a nice constructive pullback. See if we can capture something to the upside. We'll see what happens here. Again, wait for it to prove itself. So it is 11:38. Well, maybe we're looking at something into that 12 o'clock hour. Let's give it a few minutes here to pan out. Need a break though. Really, if we can break above this level, might be something on the other side of that. All right, let's see. We got the close above. I mean, yeah, that's close. Now the risk becomes that down there by the 66 level. Let's see if we can get something deeper than that. Take a quick break and grab something to drink. I'll be right back, team. In fact, every time I crack a soda, somebody's gonna make an old Mike Francesa joke or something. For any of you sports aficionados out there. All right, cool. Look at that. We're getting that delta divergence here. We're above yesterday's low, 76.86. Sorry, 76, 76, 75. Looking right to test the open here. Just need that quality entry here now. Just need that quality entry here. We should be good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Just give me a pullback. Give me a reason. All right, guys, we're coming into the 12 o'clock hour. I'm going to go ahead and log off. Hopefully we get an entry here. It's been just a slow day. I have some other work to attend to, so I am going to wrap it up. But I think that today we covered some good stuff, and it was a really good day for learning how to interact or how to get a good context read and following a play by play. And remember, when we see that controlled selling and sellers stop making progress and absorption and effort versus results, when the price is breaking down but it fails to break down, and then we get the reclaim, then we look for the higher low, then we look for the resistance conversion, which would signify to us the shorts are trapped and maybe we get a squeeze and an expansion. Those last two legs being the things that we did not see on Friday, which we were looking for and has yet to materialize today. We will see. But that's kind of the play-by-play. We know how we got here. We know what we need to see in order for that condition to change. Currently, right now, we're looking at that 76.86. Above that, we're looking at 77.14. So keep an eye out for those. And thank you everybody for the support. Give me if you have any questions or need to reach out, feel free to send me a message or just post it in the management room. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Take care.